What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you all are doing great. Like the title says, we are going to be talking about a topic that I think is really important to kind of where the channel's going. This segment is all about why most coaches don't play and why most players don't coach at the same time. Now, before you get into answering the question, you also have to understand that when a coach and a player are being compared, they have two different mentalities. A coach's job is to find every way that they can, and this is again, if you're good at what you do, a coach's job is to find every way they can to best serve the person that's going to be across the net from them when they're teaching. And a player's job is to do everything they can to best serve themselves against the person that's across the net from them. So when you start at the very beginning, you can see where the mentality is going to already have these two people working in very different directions. Does that mean that players can't coach? No. Does that mean that coaches can't play? No. But if there is somebody that's being very focused on doing one thing as a career, for example, it's very difficult to dive deeply into doing the other thing well. And you see that, and you see examples of that all through the world. Now, you have people that have their own tennis academies. They used to be former professional players. Janko Tipsarevic from Serbia has a place in Serbia called the Tipsarevic Academy. He could not have done something like that while he was where he was on the tour. And I believe he got inside the top 20. He may even have gotten inside the top 10. But the point is, you can't have these two mentalities at the same time. And that's a very extreme example. But to bring it back down to where we are, or where most people that coach would be, they would just be recreational coaches or career coaches working in a country club, a racket club, a tennis academy. And then you have players that are training to play on tour, play in college. Everything they do is to become very proficient at those things. Even the way they hit the ball. Now, I will say this before we get into it is, this doesn't count for one specific example of a coach, and that would be the coach that mainly works with high performance players, but as a hitting coach. Now, that person I'll talk more specifically about later on in the video, but for the most part, everybody else I'm going to be talking about will fall into these two categories. So let's look at players first. Players learn from the very beginning how to take what they want to do and affect their opponent negatively. So I want my ball to bounce higher, I want my ball to move faster, I want my ball to go further away, I want to make the person run and I want them to be off balance, I want to push them back, I want to go over their head. Everything that they learn to do is to find a way to make the person across the net as uncomfortable as possible while making themselves the most comfortable that they can be. They want to learn to exploit opponents' weaknesses while favoring their own strengths, and they take that combination and they try to win matches, they try to win points over and over and over again. Each time they do it, they're also refining their reflexes or their motor functions to repeat that over and over again. So when players get lessons from coaches, their job is hit this shot so many times that I don't have to think about it, that my body just knows what it needs to do. Make these adjustments to these negative things that I have in my game so that when I need these skills, they become what's needed at the moment. And when a player is constantly honing those skills, it's very difficult to turn off. And likewise, let's look at the coaching side now. When a coach is constantly giving the person on the other side of the net the ball that they need, the ball that they want, the ball that they need to practice, the shot that makes them most comfortable, that's two different strikes of the ball by itself. I'll use an example of somebody that everybody should know. Let's use John Isner as an example. John Isner's probably not going to be your coach, but let's use him as an example. John Isner serves huge. John Isner hits the ball massive. That's just the way he plays. He's a very aggressive baseliner and a huge server. That's just the way he likes to play. He takes huge cuts of the ball. Doesn't really care to try to get into return games too much. He just wants to go after returns because he knows the likelihood of him getting broken in a match is very low. So he's very content to be as aggressive as possible. You could not have somebody like John Isner that doesn't know how to coach hit be your coach. Think about it. John Isner is going to help you practice returning serve, but he's going to serve like John Isner. He's not going to serve like somebody that knows how to serve big but is curtailing it to what you do or what you need. He serves like he wants to serve because that's what he's refined over and over again. And you can take that skill and apply it to any other player that hits full time. It's very difficult to turn it off. It's very difficult to turn it on. There are plenty of coaches that used to be great players, but what they've done over the past 4, 5, 6, 15, 20 years of coaching is they've dulled down their competitive ball striking and they've sharpened their cooperative ball striking. If my job with my student today is to make them hit 20 balls cross court, yeah, I might hit a couple balls that make them a little pressured, but at the same time, I'm not going full out against them because I need them to succeed and I need them to improve. So I'm constantly just pushing the level a little bit above what they're comfortable with and trying to get them to raise their level over and over again. As a competitive player, you don't want to be here. You don't want to be in the situation where it could easily flip to here. You want to be in a situation where there's a bigger gap between what they can do and what you're doing so that they don't score as often, so that they don't close the gap, and so that they don't flip the gap. So you don't want to serve right to where they're going to be comfortable returning. You don't want to return the ball down the center so that they get a chance to practice their +1 patterns. And the problem with coaches who try to play, which is an issue which I've been dealing with, but I've been working through it a lot more as of recently, which is, again, why I was talking about with these videos. Your reflex happens before you think. So your body reacts to the stimuli that your eyes and ears take in, and then your body reacts to that before you may have had a chance to tell yourself what you want to do. So let's let's use John Isner again. If I'm returning somebody who serves as big as he does, as a player, I want to have my reflexes so refined that if I connect with that return, I want that ball in a position where he is the least comfortable he can be. But if I'm a coach and I'm returning serve, and let's take my ability to return serve off the table. Let's say that I'm going to connect with this serve regardless. I don't have time to think about how I want this ball to go. I want my body to take over. But as a coach, your reflex is going to be cooperative. Your reflex is going to be, how do I hit a ball to better serve the person on the other side? So somebody like Novak would return Isner's serve to the corner or at his feet really quickly, whereas a coach might chip the return back and look for him to attack a ball. And you take any skill that you have as a player and look at it in the sense of how much you practice those things. Coaches practice full time as well to get themselves to be able to hit the ball perfectly the way somebody else needs them to play. Now, like I said, I was going to get into the high performance coaching person. What that person usually does, and this is why they're exempt from it, is their job is usually to hit in a way that makes the person feel like they're competing and give little tips here and there. Hey, you probably want to step in. Don't let that ball get over your shoulder. Basic things like that. But for the most part, their job is to simulate high-level competitive play while giving notes here and there. That person doesn't fall into this category, but most coaches also don't fall into that category of a high-performance hitting coach. That's a very specific skill set. And when you look at most coaches across the board, they are the teacher coach who can hit well. They're not the hitting coach who's teaching. Those are two completely different things. And for the players who may be watching this, it's not that they can't hit a coaching ball. The problem is, if they continue to practice hitting like a coach, their timing of being a player gets a little bit off. The longer they do it, the tougher it is to get back into it. For me, it took me about 2 or 3 months to be able to find my flatter first serve again when I started trying to compete. My thing that's been killing me up until the recent upload has been, I've been sucking at attacking short balls, because anytime I would get a short ball in a lesson, I would roll the ball to an open court. I wouldn't really try to blast it through somebody. But as a competitor, you don't want to give that person that time when you're approaching the net or when you're inside the court. But as a coach, you want to put pressure on them and see what they come up with. So that became a very bad habit of mine when it came to competing. So to sum all this video up, as we go into this next few videos of, me training on court and off court, me doing competitive match videos and tournament shoots and all these things, I want you guys to kind of understand one of the big obstacles that I was going through, or still am going through as we continue to go through it, which is I still am a full-time coach, but I had to rework my schedule to simulate being a almost full-time player. So my schedule is very packed. I'm on court, I'm in the sauna, I'm going to get massages, I'm training in the gym. It's very, very time consuming. But to simulate what it would be like to actually be a competitive player again, I have to do all those things. Otherwise, I won't be doing these videos justice, and I won't be providing you guys with like actual realistic feedback of how it's going. Because it wouldn't make sense for me to say I'm trying to become a really good player again, but I'm practicing once or twice a week, because that's not going to do it. So that's going to sum up this video. But again, the reason why coaches don't play and the reason why players don't coach is because there's a big divide in the skills that are needed, and it's very difficult to jump back and forth over the line unless you're that coach that lives right on the line. And like I said, the coach that lives right on the line, high performance hitting coach. Coach that his job or her job is to hit with you like a person that you would compete with, and then give you tips here and there. They're not going to be the person that stands there, feeds balls to you, gets you to correct this and this and this. They're going to be on court really putting pressure on you consistently, and as a result, they keep their skills sharp as well. You see that on the Pro Tour all the time, where a player's coach isn't the one hitting with them. The player's coach is actually standing behind them while they hit with another player, because the coach knows they can't do their job well across the net for a person of this caliber. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. I hope this video was somewhat informative. I know it's a little bit off topic of what we've been working on, but I feel like all this stuff kind of lends itself to what the videos are going to be going into over the next couple of months. So thanks again for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. That really helps us out. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.